Well, pancreatic cancer has now become the third leading cause of cancer death in Europe as well as the United States. This is mainly because we're not making much in the way of progress. One of the main challenges we have is the cancer is still only the 10th or around about the 10th in incidence, which means we need a networked approach. So we need platforms to develop new therapies. So we built a platform in the United Kingdom called Precision Panc, and we aim to extend that into Europe. And the fundamental basis for that is the basis of precision medicine and exactly what this conference is about. And that's really about using the treatments we have better, not giving treatments that aren't going to work, unlocking the door for patients to get it to receive treatments through clinical trials, because often clinical trials will be the best option for a patient or an individual patient, particularly in pancreatic cancer where current treatments don't work very well. What we're starting to understand through looking at the molecular basis of cancer, particularly pancreatic cancer, is that there is significant diversity. Yet the diversity can be so pronounced that we can't really run practical clinical trials for very rare patients, small subgroups. So what we're trying to do is work out exactly how we can group patients together, find similarities and differences in their molecular pathology or what constitutes that individual cancer, and then be able to try and match the treatment appropriately to that. One of the challenges we have is that we need to test this in appropriate systems. And so one thing that we have done is that we've made patient-derived cell lines. So we've made cancer cells from individual patients, which we've understood in excruciating detail to understand exactly what's making those individual cancers tick. Then we can start to understand their similarities and differences and start to target them in specific ways, looking for vulnerabilities with new drugs. And we have to have new models as well that we look to study those, and we're finding that there are two main subtypes in pancreatic cancer. There are certainly subtypes within those subtypes, but two main groups, and that these subtypes can switch between one and the other. And so trying to lock them into a particular point and really identifying what that vulnerability is in that particular cancer itself in a group that's going to be tractable for us to run in a clinical trial. Yes, so part of Precision Panc is a clinical trial platform called PRIMUS, and what it's about is finding the trial for the patient. So when a patient comes to us in the clinic, one of the first things we talk about is, would you like a clinical trial potential option as one of your treatment choices? And of course, almost all patients say yes. And in that context, we prepare them for a clinical trial. That is, take a sample of their cancer, do a detailed molecular analysis of it, and try and identify what the best clinical trial would be for that patient. So rather than what we've done in the past, which is we have a clinical trial and we try and find for patients, we set up a system, a platform, where each patient has the potential option of a clinical trial. Well, this is why we need a network approach. For the top 5 most common cancers, 1 or 2 institutions may come together and do large enough studies. But for incidence 5 to 20 cancers, there's just not enough in a single institution. Certainly rarer cancers, patients and health services tend to gravitate to a centralized type system. But those between 5 and 20, and pancreatic cancer sitting at about 10, really may fall through the cracks. So we need to build platforms and systems and networks so that we can capture broader population groups and also offer patients from in any area an opportunity for cutting-edge therapies as part of a clinical trial. I think certainly. I mean, we had a broad array of people speaking, people from the patient's perspective and the clinical perspective, as well as other aspects. So I think the message is certainly getting out there. Just the thinking from a social perspective that clinical trials are real options for patients are fundamentally important. And we need not only the patients to think like that, but also the treating clinicians, and to give that option to the patient, so that clinical trials are actually discussed as part of their treatment options. Data sharing is really fundamentally important as we advance this further. We are part of the International Cancer Genome Consortium. The International Cancer Genome Consortium is now evolving into its next phase, which we call ICGC ARGO, standing for Accelerated Research in Genomic Oncology. The headquarters and base of operations is moving to the UK, and we aim to invite all countries to participate in the International Cancer Genome Consortium, the ARGO project, to help us bring genomic health into oncology, closer to the patient in healthcare systems and through clinical trials.